Welcome to the empowering world of the Ladies Who Leap podcast, where brave souls share their remarkable journeys of venturing beyond their comfort zones to craft lives filled with passion and purpose. Today I talk to Holly Chayes, and she's going to talk about how you look and how you dress. And it's not all about how you're perceived or seen by the world, but how you see yourself. That how you see yourself in these clothes is what's the most important. She has some great information to share, and I know you will enjoy it. So have a great time, and thanks for being here. Thanks for joining us on the Ladies Who Leap podcast. Today, my guest is Holly Chayes, personal stylist and marketing coach. She's a consultant with a focus on day-to-day genuine style. She's the author of Holly's Tiny Book of Style, Holly's Guide to Dressing for Your Body Shape with Care and Confidence, and Holly's Guide to Building Your Next Capsule Wardrobe, among other style guides and programs. She has also written the Shawl Geometry series, The Math of Shawl Shaping for Non-Mathy People. We're definitely going to find out what that's all about. And she also works with small creative businesses on their marketing, systems, and operations. She's been doing that for over 10 years. And she once spent a year making all the clothes she wore. She called it the Self-Made Wardrobe Project, which is fascinating. Welcome, Holly.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, I always, when you were growing up, what experience or maybe relationship had an impact on your life? And then this occupation about really, because you focused on costume design for theater as one of your, when you first started out, where did this all come from? Who inspired you?
Yeah. So I grew up a little north of New York City, and so theatrical costume design was kind of in the air and around. I didn't have anyone directly in my family that did theater or costumes or any creative field in that way, but at school, like friends' parents would do things related or be work in theater, and so it was kind of in the ether that like this was an actual profession. It wasn't just something that people did in books or movies or on TV or in documentaries. It was real life people who did this. And when I was very young, one of my favorite movies was My Fair Lady. And at the end of the VHS, there was about like 15 or 20 minutes of behind the scenes of like how the movie was made. And a huge part of that was focused on the costumes because there were incredible costumes and incredible ensemble scenes of you have dozens and dozens and dozens of people in very fancy costumes that all need to be on the soundstage at the exact same time. And so they spent a lot of time talking about that. And it was one of my favorite parts of the movie. It was so magical. It was so amazing.
So,
And so I went on to study it in school and then I continued and that's really where it started.
wow. Yeah, I mean, I saw that and was interested in it. However, not to that extent that you were, but it really sparked something in you. It's
Mhm.
amazing that I love when people see something when they're young and go, that's my calling. I
Mhm.
really, really, it sparks something in me. I really feel something when I watch that. That's really cool. And your career went from, can you talk about how it started, how your
Yeah.
career started and the decision to, I mean, you just talked about why you entered the industry, but kind of what it taught you about life in
Yeah.
that industry.
Yeah, I think I was thinking about this a little bit and I think like what stuck with me so much is that like making magic is possible. And really what it requires is like a lot of mundane and hard work. But that all of that kind of effort, all of that energy, all of the headaches, all of the annoyances are like really worth it when you like make that magical moment and the audience is like how did that happen? Because I didn't focus on television or costume and it was live in-person theater. So if something appears, it needs to actually appear.
Yeah, and if there were
Yeah.
any, you had to make sure there were no malfunctions. It was live.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Magic is possible.
Well, that's a great lesson to come from that. And then, I hate to go too quickly. I feel like I'm missing some of the part of your transition because you started having your own business of styling people, and it is in a very unique direction. But how did that get birthed? How did that transition and that happen? How did that? And I call it a leap because it's
Yeah.
definitely a leap. Did that take courage? How did that all happen?
Yeah, it happened very slowly. It was I realized fairly early in my career that costume design isn't where I wanted the rest of my career to go. And this was like pre-COVID, pre-pandemic, pre all of that. And I look back and I'm like, I don't know what I would have done if I were still in theater at that point. Um, but I realized that it like there was just something that wasn't working and wasn't going to be working long term. And so that's how I also started working with creative businesses. And so I was exploring different avenues and I kept coming back to what I love about costume design is making a character appear. And so what we wear impacts who we are, how we present ourselves, what we say to the world, how people perceive us, and getting that message, like understanding who you are and then portraying it to the world, is what I loved about character creation and costume design. And that is, to me, that's what personal styling is ultimately.
Yeah, it's like what you wear is actually in of itself, especially in theater, a character.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a big part of what I'm hearing you saying too is not just how you are perceived or seen by the world, but how you see yourself.
Yes. Because that's ultimately the only one we can control.
Yeah. Can you talk a little
Yeah.
bit more? Because I know this is the unique direction in what you do. It's very needed. How can you talk about how what you do with your styling clients? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I focus my styling practice on your everyday genuine style. So this is like you wake up, what do you have in your closet? What do you put on? What's in the laundry basket? What's in the laundry chair? How do you handle like, oh, I have that meeting then, but I need to wear this, but it's in the laundry, so I need to make sure I do laundry before that happens. Like all of these mundane day-to-day not necessarily super sexy parts of style. And but what that does and what that enables you to do is literally anything. Like, what do you do when you get an invitation at the last minute for a speaking gig or a speaking engagement or a podcast or a client meeting or a coffee chat or a date or a friend date? Like, what do you wear? How do you figure out what to wear? How do you be open to those opportunities if you are second guessing that? How do you hop on a flight when a family medical emergency is happening and you can't get a return ticket because you don't know how long it's going to be? Like, what do you do? And so the day-to-day, the unsexy, the unglamorous, like the work that happens in our closets is how we handle those moments.
Yeah, and I have to admit, my mom was very good at teaching me about clothes. I
Yeah.
mean, we would go shopping together and she would just pull something off the rack and I'd go, yeah, that's not going to look good. And then she'd have me put it on and it looked fabulous. It was like
Mhm.
perfect. So she taught me a lot. So I feel like I'm at an advantage where I can just grab something. Like
Yeah.
today I'm recording 4 podcasts. I literally this morning pulled out 4 shirts.
Oh my
Actually,
gosh.
they were new ones.
Yeah.
I just went
There you go.
shopping and I didn't even realize I had 4 podcasts today. And I had them all lined up so I could change in between. So I'm not wearing the same
Yeah.
thing on every podcast.
Yes.
But there are a lot of people who have not been given those skills. Do you actually end up teaching people how to make those decisions and how to coordinate a wardrobe so that it's easy to make
Oh
those
yeah,
decisions?
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, we exactly the tools I teach are very person dependent. So some people have a really good eye for color. They just didn't know that they have a good eye for color. So I'm like, you got color. We'll focus on silhouette and shape and materials and all of that. Some people need help putting that color palette together. Some people need help navigating, like maybe they're petite or maybe they're slightly larger or slightly taller, and the options you have are significantly limited. So we'll often also talk about what are the options for tailoring, what are the options for alterations, what are your go-to stores? So it's about, for me, it's about helping my clients develop their own tool set that they can rely on once we're no longer working together.
And you've got several books.
Yep.
So can you kind of say which one helps with what so that when I have the list of books, it helps someone understand, okay, which one is it that I need to use to help?
Yeah, absolutely. So Holly's Tiny Book of Style is kind of an overview of the system I use with clients. It gives you small tools to start implementing every day, day to day, like how do you work through your closet? What do you think about? What are the areas you need to focus on? So it gives you a little bit of a roadmap to start thinking about and thinking, where do I need help? What do I need to adjust? How do I implement this part for me? The book on body shapes and dressing for your body with care and confidence is really about taking this concept of body shapes, which is a very personal style focused concept, and introducing it with the concept of the silhouette, which is a very fashion and costume focused silhouette. And so your body shape is the shape of your body, and the silhouette is the shape of your outfit, and they don't need to be the same.
Okay,
So
so
if
is
you,
that the one?
yeah.
Which book is that? Is that the Shawl Geometry series?
No, that
Yeah.
is Holly's Guide to Dressing Your Body Shape with Care and Confidence.
Oh, I did not list that in
Oh.
the bio. I have Holly's Guide to Building Your Next Capsule Wardrobe. That's not it.
No, that's a different one.
Ah,
We can talk about
okay.
that next.
So I will have to make sure I get that from you and put it in the description. But that is really important. And
Yes.
I know someone else who kind of is in this realm, and she had told me some things about my hair and to match, the clothes that I wear. Can you give us even just an idea of something like that we could
Yeah.
learn from what you're talking
Yeah.
about?
Yeah, so I use kind of the very old school like triangle, inverted triangle, rectangle, uh apple, oval, pear, whatever shape that the shape that everyone doesn't want to be. And the
The
hourglass shape.
pear, yeah,
The
I know
pear.
that
Yeah,
pear.
yeah. And so we talk a lot about whatever your body is, you can use different pieces of your outfit. It goes through your outfit piece by piece by piece and talking about if you have broad shoulders and you want to accentuate them, then you look for a very strong shoulder. That would be shoulder pads. It could be wide shoulders. If you want to de-accentuate them, you're going to look for like softer shoulders, like a obviously fewer shoulder pads, but also like a raglan cut sleeve as opposed to a full or a fitted sleeve. And same thing for like necklines and waistlines and V's and all of that. And it really talks about emphasize the part of your outfit that you want to emphasize. And that doesn't have to be what you're classically like supposed to emphasize. I really hope that people take away that your body doesn't dictate what you can wear. It might dictate how much attention you want to pay to making sure a proportion is balanced, but it doesn't mean you can't wear anything.
I like
Yeah.
that because I know a lot of, especially, I don't have them, but the women with larger
Mhm.
boobs, it's sometimes very difficult to get
Yes.
clothes that don't make them look larger because
Yeah.
they need the room, but they don't want it to be too big, and
Mhm.
it's very difficult. Is there a
Yes.
client that you had that had kind of something that was really bothering them, and after your help, it not only changed how they looked in their clothes, but it changed their life?
Yeah, I had a client, she was slightly larger. I wouldn't like she was the industry would call her plus size, but I would say she's probably an average American woman and that's normal. And she was very self-conscious, understandably, because like everyone wants to make you self-conscious. All of the media, all of the industry, all of the FOMO, like everything wants you to feel like you shouldn't feel good in your body because it's really easy to sell you stuff when you're worried about that.
Yeah.
And she would often buy clothes that were not her size. They were a size or two smaller, and to try and kind of wear them or like shame herself into it. And it was something that she had been taught to do. And one of the things that we did is we took all of those away and we really worked on one, sizing is not the same across the industry. Different brands have different size charts. And so you can be a 10 in one brand, an 8 in another, and a 16 in another. Like, there's no standardization. Like, you're not a size 16, you're whatever your measurements are. Um, and so we worked a lot on removing those pieces, of buying pieces that like were not because they were this size, but because they worked and fit her. And she kind of, by the end of our work together, one of my favorite things that she did is she said, like, it was the summer, it was New York City. A couple friends invited her on like a spontaneous girls' weekend to like for a long weekend. And she told me that like historically she would have been like, no, I don't want to go. Like, what am I gonna wear? What am I gonna pack? We're leaving like tomorrow. Like, what do I do? Like, how do I deal with this? And she said yes. And she said yes. And she packed a bathing suit and she wore the bathing suit and she felt really good about it. And I think that is one of the magical things that can happen with clothing of what do you say to the girls' weekend? Like, say yes.
And I'm thinking from the perspective of me being an emotional transformation
Mhm.
coach, transforming your attitude about the clothes through the clothes, changing your attitude about your body, changes your attitude about yourself. And it's very transformative. There can be breakthrough sessions, breakthrough moments like she
Mhm.
experienced that will be forever lasting and actually will release those limiting beliefs that you had about yourself because
Absolutely.
what you're doing is transforming this person's idea of what their body looks like now and what it has the possibility to look like.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, I love
Yeah.
that. I love that story.
Yes.
We'll be right back. What if the loudest voice in your head could become your biggest ally instead of your worst critic? I'm Lisa, founder of Ladies Who Leap Coaching and your podcast host. And I help you release the negative inner chatter and step into leadership with real confidence and emotional freedom. Together, we unravel those old patterns and rewire your inner dialogue so you can lead, love, and live from a place of deep self-love and unshakable confidence. If you're ready to fully trust your own power, let's talk. Go to ladieswholeap.com and click on the Let's Connect button to set up a call. And we'll talk about what's truly possible for you. Now, back to the show. So, you have a second business working with, as you
Mhm.
call it, creative entrepreneurs.
I do.
Now, what does that mean, and how do you help them in the marketing arena?
Yeah, so this also came out of my work as a costume designer. I started it by working with other costume designers on kind of the studio side of what they do, as opposed to the on-site side of what they do. So this is all of what goes into being a freelance designer in New York City. This is your website, this is keeping your studio together, this is the business systems, this is the operations, this is all of those pieces. And so I kind of fell in love with that part of creative businesses. I didn't realize they were businesses at the time. I thought this was just it's the world of freelance. Everyone's a freelancer. Like this isn't a business, except it totally is. And so that morphed into working with other creatives and really honing in on business, marketing, systems, operations. And I think one of the most incredible things that can happen for a creative is to build a business as a practice. So, like, a lot of creatives will have like a creative practice or an artistic practice, or if they're a painter, they'll have their painting practice. They'll go into the studio, they'll do their thing, They'll leave, they'll do it again and again and again and again. And one of my favorite things is building that sort of regular, rhythmic, routine structure in creative businesses because it lets you spend all of the time that you were worried about your marketing on the actual creativity, on the actual marketing.
Yeah, because someone who's, let's say, a photographer or a painter, an artist, not necessarily the best in marketing. I mean,
Yes.
some of them are because but they do know what they do and kind of in a
Mhm.
way what they want to share, but they don't know necessarily the right way in how to put it together. So that's where
Exactly.
you come in, I assume.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
And being that you are a creative entrepreneur, you know where they're coming from, and so you can grasp that. So
Yeah.
these two businesses are what you do together
Yep.
as your
They
business as an
are. Yeah.
entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So who do you lean on for support in
Yeah.
on tough days? Because a lot of us don't think that it's a good thing to ask for help.
Mm. Yes, I have also thought that in times, and I have realized that one of the best things I can do is build in that support on a regular basis before I need it. So I have a number of like calls that are we are meeting unless something really important is happening, and then we'll shift it. But some friends and some business friends and some family who like we meet regularly and we have regular calls, and it makes it so much easier to ask for help when you don't have to also ask to have a like meeting or a call or a connection. If it's like, oh, it's our Tuesday morning coffee chat, like, yeah, I'll bring up this thing that's happening and they can help because this is what we do.
Well, that's fabulous because
Yeah,
those are like close friends that you trust, and you know you have friends that are there to support you, and you would do the same thing and support them.
exactly.
Oh,
Exactly.
that's one. And meeting on a
Yes.
regular basis, they say, according to what is it, the blue zones that, and they talk about taking walks, but just
Mhm.
meeting with friends and discussing the day and having that daily contact helps you
Mhm.
to live longer.
There we go.
Yeah. And I forgot to ask, but on the marketing side of the business that we were talking about,
Yeah.
is there also a great story of a client that you truly, you treasure how you affected and helped them with their creative business?
Yeah, there's a couple who they had been in business for a while. They had a really successful business, but they were very scattered. And they came to me and they were feeling like this is working, but we keep having to like do something next and next and next and next and kind of on this hamster wheel of like okay, gotta keep going, 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 gotta keep going. And that was leading to two things. One, it was leading to burnout because we can't all go 24/7 for years on end without ultimately facing consequences of some sort. And two, it was creating a pretty scattered image. So, like each project would have kind of a new set of colors, a new set of templates, a new set of like it would have a new look, it would have a new feeling, it would have a different vibe, and it was creating a surprising amount of confusion and a lot of extra work. So a couple things that we did was like streamline all of their marketing materials. So like we're going to keep a consistent color scheme. You can introduce new imaging if you want to. You can introduce new things, but we're going to keep a consistent through line. So one, you have to make fewer decisions with every new project you want to launch. Like if you don't have to decide on the color scheme because you have a brand color scheme, that's three or four decisions that you don't have to make. And that's like a day's worth of work. If you don't have to reinvent the wheel on templates for your social media, then you don't need to reinvent the wheel every time. And it also gave them a lot more confidence in talking about their business because their graphics looked really good. They weren't slapdash at the last minute because they didn't need to make all new templates or all new graphics. And that allowed them to really begin to take a step back to put more time into those business systems and operations to like teach their employees and begin to hand things off so they weren't doing it all themselves.
Ah, interesting. And that's something that I'm going through right now is interviewing
Yeah.
people to create, much like what you do, that just a template. I have my
Yes.
colors, but
Mhm.
again, I'm not great, and people that know how to do Pro Tools and really
Mhm.
have an eye for all of that is very important.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you having the eye for clothes makes it so you have an eye for this. It's all
Mhm.
tied in together, right?
Yes.
It's artistic, it's creative. It all really ties in together. So I'm not surprised that this is the other business that you do. Okay, now, I've missed this. I've got time. The what is it? Shawl geometry series, the math of shawl shaping for non-mathy people. What in heaven's name is that? Like, what does that mean?
So when I was in costume design and in all of that, I was also did a little bit of design for hand knitters, knitwear design for hand knitters. And so this was developing pattern development and pattern writing. And what I really focused on was very modern lace shawls. So this is not like florals. These are very dramatic colorways. Dramatic and like modern and geometric designs and shapes. And so, one of the things that I fell in love with there is how many ways there are to shape a piece of knitted fabric. There are dozens and dozens of ways. And so, this project started as kind of a documentation of some of my favorite ways to shape a shawl, basically how to shape a flat piece of knitted fabric by hand. And it grew into this whole, a three-part ebook series on how to shape shawls.
Wow, talk about getting into
Yes.
the weeds
Yes,
and details.
yes,
Wow.
it was very deep in the weeds. It's hundreds of pages long. It's one of like the most incredible. I was like, I every now and then I think about that. I'm like, what happened there? How did I do that?
You were just like focused.
Yep. I was like, we're gonna see this through to the end. We are in too deep. We will finish it, or there we go.
And I love that you didn't say, "Oh, this is ridiculous. I'm not going to do this." No, you stepped
Yep.
right into it and you kept
Hmm.
doing it. And I love it.
Yep.
And there are people, I'm sure, that are very much reading it and
Yep.
taking from your knowledge because you deeply
Yeah.
got into it and learned all about it so that you could share the right information. And they're probably using it on a regular basis to
Yep.
be able to make their lovely shawls. Was
Yeah.
there any costume that you created in any play that we might be in some way familiar with, or that really shows like the most difficult amount of details and work that you did?
I have done some weird things. I don't think anyone would have seen them, but one of
Okay.
the weirdest things I was hired to do was, or I was hired to do a lot on this show, but one of the things I ended up doing was sewing an orthopedic back support onto like a child's garden chair, like a really small, like kindergarten chair, and covering it in like lime green t-shirt fabric because this play was about like a hero's journey of a heroine climbing a mountain, and her only companion is this chair. And there were huge like dance sequences with this chair, and so she needed to like be able to wear it like a backpack and also take it off and also like do aerial acrobatics with
Well,
it.
there's where your shawl, what is it? Shawl shaping,
Yes.
math
Yeah.
of shawl shaping probably came in handy.
That was one of the weirder things I've ever made. But there's been some strange things that have been really cool to do.
How funny. So, lastly, I always have people share their favorite quote, mantra, and positive affirmation because I truly believe that when somebody just hears that, it can really change their life. What do you have to share with us on that front?
Yeah, yeah. This year my mantra is really like keep doing what's working. I had a really big realization at the end of last year that kind of all of the systems I had in place, my like daily planning, weekly planning, quarterly planning, yearly planning, my daily trackers, I just needed to copy and paste and replace 2025 with 2026, and they were good to go. And I was like, this is amazing. I have never done this. I have never just copy and pasted like one year to the next. There's always been something I was tweaking. There's always been something I was improving or testing or trying out. And this year I was like, this is working. Just keep doing it.
I love that.
So
I
just keep
did
doing it.
make a big
Yeah.
change myself in the system, but
Yeah.
but my feeling is this system is going to last for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
And because it does a lot of things. And I was, I had all these files everywhere and I just was scattered and everything was manual. And I said, no, 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 I'm not doing that anymore. So that's what started this year. So
Yeah.
I shed some things, the year of the
Yes.
snake. And now as the year of the, well, fire horse, I'm running with the new system. It's not fully
Mhm.
done, but it is coming up. It's
All
almost
right.
almost done. Yeah. So that's really cool. And there are a
Yeah.
lot of things that we do that we should continue to do because it's working. You don't always
Yeah.
have to shift. You don't always have to
No.
change. If it's working, let it work.
Yes.
Yeah. And that
Yeah.
includes even mindset and attitude. If it's
Yes.
working, keep
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 doing it.
honing it and reminding yourself of it, but keep doing it.
Yes. Yeah.
Holly, how can people get a hold of you? Normally, one or two places so they can remember if they're listening, and I'll put everything else, including all these books, all the links to all the books in the description.
Well, thank you. Thank you. So, if you want to find out about the styling work that I do, the best way to do that is whowearswho.com. And if you want to find out about the business stuff that I do, shawl geometry, the self-made wardrobe, any of those other projects, hollychayes.com is the place to go.
And it's Chayes,
Yes, it's
although I'm
H
going to
O.
show it. Yeah.
Yep, yep. It's HOLLYCHAYES.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's really good. Well, thank you so much for being on Ladies Who Leap podcast. I very much appreciate it. I love what you're doing. I love what you do. I think it's fascinating and interesting. And if anybody, you can tell that Holly is here to help you not only help with your wardrobe and make it easier for you to just feel sense of ease and flow with your wardrobe, but also it makes you feel good inside too about your body and about yourself. So that's a very nice way to have as a personal style coach.
Yes.
So
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
you are so welcome. And everybody, please like, follow, what's all the other stuff? Subscribe. And because I want to keep doing this and I appreciate all of your comments. And if you have a leap story to tell, I would love to hear it. So get a hold of me. It's not that hard to do. And everyone, have a fabulous day. Thanks. Thanks for listening or watching the Ladies Who Leap podcast. It's much appreciated, and please remember to subscribe, like, follow, and make comments. I'd love to hear from you.